Hi, so congratulations on getting onto the ICURe Explore program. My name is Pearse Coyle and I'm an investor. I run a fund called Deep Tech Seed Fund, and I've previously done a number of successful university spin-outs. And most recently, one where we had fantastic traction from two small Irish universities, and we ended up selling it to an American semiconductor company. After that, I created the fund, and we have spent a lot of time actually with the ICURe program, looking at ventures coming through the ICURe program. So there's a little bit we have created that is tagged on to the end of the ICURe program in the what's called the ICURe Exploit program. And if all goes well and you get to options roundabout, and if you decide and if the other people decide, hey, that you should create a spin-out company, then you're going to find yourselves you're going to find yourself in that program, and this little part of it that we've created, you'll be involved with. But everybody told us on that, everybody who's done that already said to us, we wish we'd heard about this earlier on. So pay attention, because if you get to that stage, you're going to actually, you will be glad you remembered some of the stuff I'm telling you now. So the central idea is that we have created a thing called a scorecard, Deep Tech Seed Fund scorecard, and it is a mechanism to allow you to do justice to whatever level of interest there is in your intellectual property. So in the ICURe Explore program that you're going into now, you're going to be, out there beating the bushes saying, hey, I've got this amazing breakthrough, what do you think? And you'll be brought into different places. You'll start one place, you'll realize the interest is somewhere else. Eventually, hopefully, you'll come to a situation where there is, 5 or 10 or 15 companies that are significantly interested, or potential, partners, significantly interested in what you've got. And so what we seek to do afterwards in ICURe Exploit is to say, okay, so they were interested. Now, in what way are they interested? Are they really interested? So just to explain, so the ICURe Explore program is going to allow you to populate a sort of a summary like this evidence subtraction. You'll have spoken to a certain number, someone will have interested. There's a sort of a funnel effect here in terms down to some small number that is seriously interested. What we seek to do then in the ICURe Exploit process is take this to another level, where you're saying, okay, you remember you said you had 5 or 6 companies who seem to be actually quite committed to working with you. In what way are they committed? What level of commitment can they demonstrate? Now, this is new to almost all of you, I understand, but the key thing to understand is two things. One is, it takes an awfully long time to sell to companies. So going from a situation where somebody is quite interested in your medical breakthrough through to a point where they can actually, use the resultant product. Obviously, there may be a regulatory process or a further development process. There's a very long process, and very often the key early adopters will want to be engaged with you during that process. They want to see how you get on, to see are you for real, to see the level of development. So it's not a case that somebody says, I'm interested, you go off into the lab, work for years, and come back to them and say, hey, remember you told me 3 years ago you were interested. Here it is now. Oh, you've retired. Oh dear. So you've got to have a kind of an ongoing engagement with the people. The other thing is, from an investor point of view, people who are going to invest in you have to believe you can actually do business. And they need to see something more than sort of soft levels of commitment at some point in time. They need to see something more tangible. And what most of you don't realize is that it is quite possible to ask for commitment quite early. An awful lot of big companies have little slush funds that they can put 10, 20, 30 grand here and there into pilot projects, into proof of concept, and they think nothing of it. They see it as a way for them to get early access to technology or to intellectual property. So they're just waiting for you to ask in the appropriate way. So we've got a little an early adopter proposal template that sort of helps you understand, helps you see how this works, and we're ultimately looking for you to kind of, in the course of, as you go through the ICURe Explore, you'll get feedback from people about the stage you're at now, and a lot of people will begin to say, well, actually, yes, you've proved. So if it was some amazing new material, for example, they might say, okay, well, you've created it at gram scale and the properties are amazing, but I'd really like to see you do it at kilogram scale. So you'll start to see a consensus emerge around what is the next stage people want you to be at. And that will hugely inform your thinking as to what you ought to do next, which might be quite different to what you had previously thought you should do next. So your early adopters will you should try to sort of corral interest. The first person might say, yeah, I want to see a kilogram scale. And the next person, you could ask them, what do you think? So, well, yeah, as long as you were able to produce a tens of grams scale, and then maybe the next few you might get consensus around a different level. So it's helpful to test that as you go through it. And the other thing which you can sort of start to think about is, okay, well, what could I do next? The other thing is what would be useful? Sure, cash. So people paying money towards a proof of concept there's no arguing with that. But perhaps there are things you need. Perhaps there's a data set. Perhaps there's lab facilities. So think about what it is you could ask for from the people who are interested, and just tease this out with them. And you don't need to. You're actually encouraged not to seek any kind of formal commitment during this phase. But just think about it. And if you have, like, you will sometimes go to the trouble of going to a conference or travel to the other side of the world, and you will find yourself sitting down with an interested early adopter who will say to you, well, listen, that's great. That's great, Shauna. What do we do next? And you should have thought about that and say, well, actually, okay, how about we do this together? Or, you contribute this. So start thinking about it. And then even if you do nothing with it, then at least as you go along, your thought process will have improved. And when you get to the ICURe Exploit stage, you'll be all set to sort of start this process of going back out to the interested people with the specific proposals seeking commitment. And so good luck in the process, and I hope you all get to the stage of needing to do this later on.